What's up, Miss Brown?
Hey, Coach Adkins, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Doing well. Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm gonna start off by introducing the show and then we'll
Hold on,
go
hold
right
on,
in.
hold on. Oh, are we live or we
Yeah, we're live.
oh, I was gonna ask about how you was doing. Okay, I'm good. Whenever you're ready.
Yeah. We're on YouTube live.
Wow, you big time.
No. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and introduce the show and then we go right into it.
Okay.
All right, so I'm Taylor Brown, and this is How I Did It, the show where we talk with champions about how they achieve their dreams. On today's show, we're talking with Coach David Atkins. Coach David Atkins is assistant coach for the Washington Wizards and the director of player development. He also coached at DeMatha High School, Montrose Christian, University of Maryland for the women's basketball program, alongside with Brenda Fries. So, Coach Atkins, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Taylor, my pleasure.
Yeah, so first question for you, Coach. How are you doing during this time? With the pandemic, it's just everything going on.
Taylor, you were a hooper. I remember you in high school. I remember you coming to elite camp and
Yeah,
and you loved the game and that was what I was drawn to you when we recruited you. Um, it's crazy because we're in season, and as you probably know, we started on 4, and we're struggling a little bit. Everything falls back on your season. You're a basketball hooper, you played, and so right now, obviously, the pandemic is on the forefront of most people's minds, and we've got to be so careful. And we test every day, and the protocols we have in place for our players and the coaches and our staff. But to be real, man, it's we're trying to get that first win. And the reality of any sport, college, pro, high school, at the level you played at Bishop McNamara, level you played in college, everything kind of revolves around basketball. It sounds crazy, but that's why you reached the highest of levels. And I think that's one of the reasons I was able to ascend to the professional ranks.
yeah. No, definitely. Thank you. I appreciate you remember my history.
No, I remember, and it was interesting because I had to go back and then I was I loved how you played. You were a point guard, a little small, but a
Yeah,
point guard could play, knew how to play, and and it's amazing. It's like when you hear a song, you're still too young to remember. I'm an old head, but you hear a song, it puts you back in the right time, or you remember a game, or you remember. And I just remember, some of the best times, I know you're going to ask me, was at the University of Maryland when I was able to meet you and meet other great, DC, Maryland, Virginia players that we brought to campus and get to know them and hopefully expand your thoughts and aspirations of, going to the highest of levels and getting a great education, which you did at Georgetown and George Mason. So, I think that, that's what this is all about.
yeah, definitely. No, it's definitely great to reconnect. And because I wanted to ask you, 'cause we met University of Maryland. You recruited me, and do you miss coaching girls basketball? 'Cause I know you were coaching guys before,
Yeah.
but like what made you? I know coaching the NBA is a great opportunity, but
Sure.
what made that decision for you?
Taylor, it's a great question. It was, people ask all the time because you get people reach out like I can sprinkle, the dust on somebody to get a job or get an opportunity. And with me, it was never the end all be all to get in the NBA. When I was at DeMatha, that was my job. When I was at Montrose, I was fortunate to be around some great players and great people at Montrose. And then at DeMatha, Mike Jones, Dr. McMahon, who runs the school. I mean, it was, when I teach young people, I taught you is life is about progression. And each day you want to get a little bit better day by day.
Yeah.
And like I said, to me, the journey is what it's all about. The end result was, today I'm in the gym, we're dealing with guys and getting them motivated because we're backed up against the wall.
Right.
And so it doesn't matter if it's women, it's men, it's high school, it's elementary. Can you motivate a young person, young man, young female to live their best life that day and get better at that task? And Taylor, it's that simple. Whether it be Russell Westbrook, Brad Beal, Denny Avia, a rookie, Rui Hutchinson, doesn't matter, or you. I was in the Starbucks this morning, and I'm trying to impact Starbucks when I go in because they meet me with a hello, and I'm like, well, I got to come back with a little bit more because that's an opportunity to maybe lift somebody up or maybe impact somebody in the right way.
Yeah. Definitely. Everybody I know that's spoken about you to bring up your names, nothing but positive feedback and how you just inspire people in general. So
I need y'all to send that to my wife. Nah, but no, but it's easy. Taylor, it's easy. And when you meet young people like yourself, that you can see in your eyes, you can see it in the way you played, you can see it when I talk to you. And not to make this a love fest, so to speak, but I appreciate it, and to see your growth and your development, and to see how successful you are now to have your own show. And I think that's the thing about the DMV is that this, and who would have thought I'd have coached women basketball? I'm forever. The initial question was, do I miss it? Yes. I miss the relationships. I miss having the players come into my office. I miss, Alyssa Thomas going through some tough times. I miss Brene Mosley, who went to Paint Branch.
Yeah.
I could go on, and because they would come in and just in their life, they were willing to listen. And I had to be prepared to give them the right information, the right answer, so to speak, to listen. And I missed that. And then fortunately for me at Maryland, Coach Williams, Pryor, and Coach Turgeon, they allowed me to be a part of their programs as well. So that the men were coming over. You know what I mean? So it was the best. So I do miss the college atmosphere where it's about education, it's about developing. And more so, Taylor, as you know, going to Georgetown and then going to Mason, sometimes the more you learn is out of the classroom, or in the community, or going through some tough times and interacting and meeting lifelong friends and what have you. The professional ranks, Taylor, it's not what people think it is. It's the best. Don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna. But it's when you have that much money and you have that much, I don't know what the other word to use, but when you have that much, and it's a business. That's at the end of the day, it's a business. But we try to make it with Scotty Brooks and Tommy Shepard, our GM, try to make it our basketball family, like anything. And I don't care what you do, is that if you have a good relationship with your coworkers, with your peers, with your management, you're going to be successful at whatever it is, whether it's in the government or if it's in the county, or if it's in basketball. And we've got some really, really good men, young men. We've got good women that work in our organization. So we're just trying to get a win now. Shoot.
Right. No, that leads into my next question. I know you guys' record doesn't show, the impact. I'm pretty sure Russell Westbrook has brought to the team. Just seeing like the guys just seem, a lot of energy, a little motivated. Just talk about the impact he's made in such a short period of time. And I know it was, it's tough losing John Wall, but I think Westbrook is a good leader for the team.
Well, I think I'm gonna go back to this, and I can talk a lot, but I'm gonna go back, and you asked me great questions. I'm gonna talk about John Wall first and Brad Beal. 7 years ago now, they welcomed me into the Wizards, and if those two guys didn't buy into what I was selling, if those guys didn't allow me to grow, I could tell you, Paul Pierce, Andre Miller. I thought I knew the game. Taylor, shoot, it's nothing. It is so, people say we don't play defense, this, that, and another. Come to a practice. You're welcome. Once this COVID, I get you. It's amazing. It's amazing to see the knowledge. John Wall is a savant with basketball. He could tell you about women's basketball, high school, college, football. He has 4 TVs at his house in Potomac when he was living there. Now he's obviously moved on. But they're so smart. They're the best talent, most talented, and so smart. And Brad is the same way. So I think the timing was right for John, unfortunately for us, and for but it was the right time, But I can never. And I text John, and I text him to this day. I'm forever thankful because he allowed me in, and he allowed me to grow. From a high school coach, women's coach, to an NBA coach. He showed me the way of what to do and how to do it, and I'm forever grateful. Same thing with Brad. Those two guys have come a long way. Now they're both married. Now they both have kids, 2 boys each. To see that, like you, to see that growth from young men and have to deal with everything that you deal with as being a professional athlete, it's been amazing. That leads me to Russ Westbrook. I have never been around another person like that. I have never been around a leader like that brings it every day, brings an energy, Taylor, every day, and will speak his mind. But you look at him and he does it first and foremost, just like John. They're different leaders than Brad. So it's not comparing any of the 3, but what Russ has done, and some of that is you watch 30 by 30, right? With the okay, so you found out, if you didn't know, I knew the backstories because some of the coaches I work with, they played against Jordan, And you get in the NBA, you get to hear you sit around the table, you talk, you swap stories and listen to stories. And, I've always been a person to the big eyes, big ears, small mouth. I like to listen before I respond. And I've learned so much. But Jordan was extremely tough. The greatest players if they are the greatest leaders, they're going to hold you accountable to another level. And it's not going to be, hey, Taylor, please do this. No, it's not going to be that way.
Right.
And we're with each other so much. Russ is brutally honest, and he doesn't hold anything back. He's probably the best assistant coach we have because he says everything that we want to say. But in the NBA, you got to pick and choose your battles. Scotty's got to pick and choose his battles because we're with them. We play 82 games this year, 72 games. We're with them, every single day. We're getting ready to go on a road trip. Tomorrow we play Chicago at home, get on a plane, fly to Minnesota, land in Minnesota. This is New Year's Eve. Land in Minnesota probably at 10:30. We gain an hour, so it's 11:30 here. The next day we'll get up, we'll test, COVID test, we'll have a breakfast meeting, we'll play. We won't even be in Minnesota 24 hours. We'll play Minnesota tomorrow on the 1st. I think it's a 6:00 game. Get on a plane right after the game, fly to Brooklyn, have an off day in Brooklyn, and play Brooklyn on Sunday. Think about that. And so we expect these guys to be able to play at that level every single night and perform because they are performers. And he does it. But what his routine, Taylor, you would love it being a former, I don't know if you still play.
Yeah.
But it's a routine. It's nothing like you would see the N1 commercial. That's what that I enjoy the most about the NBA is that the greatest players have a routine. The greatest players, and Steph Curry has his because he has to do those things because of his size and his skill set. Kyrie, those are anomalies. But Russ does what he does every day is what a high school kid should do every day. But he does it at such a pace, and he does the same routine. He does exactly what he does in the game. Takes him 15, 20 minutes every day, 9:30 every morning, or 12 o'clock practice. Taylor, every day. Wow. And he's never late. He's always early. First thing he does when he walks in, he speaks. You don't have to speak to him. He speaks to you first. Little things, his father taught him, little things that I think are so important as you grow as a young person, he does. And man, he brings it. And you know what though, I'm gonna say this, obviously everybody has their opinion, when you live it every day, we're right there. And there's some things, today we had a great practice. The energy was high this morning, and we're still figuring guys out. And it is tough. It is unique with the COVID protocols and everything. I'm not making excuses.
Yeah.
3 out of the 4 games, we either tied or had a lead in the fourth quarter with 3 or 4 minutes left. And, the games always come down to that unless it's a blowout like last night with some of the teams. But anyway, sorry to go on and on. But no, Taylor, he's amazing. And I'm going to tell you this. And I teach guys when they start a new job. I'm not going to curse. But when you start a new job, Coach Taylor Locke taught me, Tate Locke taught me, an old school coach, you get water, you get coffee, and you shut up. So basically, when you start a new job, you go in and you prepare yourself, but you don't go in and try to sell yourself why you got the job. You got the job for a reason. Do your job. You get water, you get coffee. Nothing is below you. Nothing's above you. You do everything you can. And so I give that advice to young people on a regular basis. Well, guess what I'm doing now with Russell Westbrook when he works out with Robert Pack? I'm getting water, getting coffee, and I'm shutting up because I want to be around greatness to see what he does so I can come and tell you this is what he's doing. I can go and tell another high school kid or a college kid or a rookie this is what he does on a daily basis. And so to me, you never stop learning. You never. And the players at our level, they'll tell you what they need and what they need to do. And then it's up to you to make sure that you hold them accountable and do it on a daily basis. But when your best player does that, when Brad does the same thing, Brad's the same way. He has his routine. He does it. That's why he's one of the top 20 players in the league. When those guys do it, Russ is just more vocal. Brad is more a silent leader, and Russ is more vocal. So sorry about that to go on and on.
No, I appreciate that. No, I definitely would love to see that routine. I've seen Bradley Bills like in warm-ups, before games and stuff. He does the same drill every time, just from what I've seen. But that's very inspirational. So I would love to see that. My next question for you is, what is the biggest lesson you've learned from COVID? I know you talked about a little bit about the protocols and stuff.
I think the biggest is somebody said this that actually ended up getting it. One of our a coworker, a young man that does a great job for us, and he said, it's an inconvenience for unless you get it, and it's an inconvenience right now, and And I think that kind of resonated with me because I've been fortunate. I didn't get it. I'll be honest with you, my daughter got it. She went to the beach. She was a high school senior and missed a lot out high school things. And I said, look, I told my wife, give her a chance. And little did I know she would go down to Myrtle Beach. And it was a hot spot early on. And we learned from that. And when it hits home, it hits home. But she was fine. She's fine. No issues now. And been very fortunate. But, when it takes people's lives and you see, I think that the biggest thing is that you have to cherish each day. I get to go to a gym, Taylor. I've been going to a gym for the last 27, 28 years. And that's my job. And so with this being said, and I just think that you got to really take a look at it. Make sure that you let the people that you care about know that you love them and give thanks on a daily basis, because, we're very fortunate to be in the situations that you and I are in. And I learned that. And I also learned that no one's invincible. No one's invincible. So you really got to take care of yourself and heed the warnings. We test every day, Taylor, every day. Every day I'm getting violated in my nose and my mouth. And you try to find the right lady at the facility or practice facility, because some of them they just killing your tonsils. But it's part of what we're doing. And I'm very blessed, because I get to go to work. I didn't lose out on pay, when a lot of people, lost out on jobs and what have you. So I don't want to make a joke about it at all. I think that it just gives me, I'm humbled, and it gives me appreciation for what people do on a daily basis. Because like I said, I get to be around basketball. I mean, it's not really work for me.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. My next question for you, Coach, is I've seen players throughout the program, with the Wizards, like, for example, Otto Porter, Kelly Oubre, and how I've seen them in the beginning when they were rookies, and how their game they took it to the next level. And I'm sure, Coach, you had a lot to do with that. How did you help improve their game, their confidence as a player? They went from, like I said, you can tell when they were rookies and they step in being big time role players. So how did you help develop their games?
Well, I'm gonna back up because I appreciate you. It's not me. I have a title. I'm an assistant coach. They give you the title. In the NBA, you want titles because it helps with your pension and different things in your salary.
Yeah.
But it's a community effort. I teach. Well, I tell all the coaches I work with that you have the front of the bench coaches, and then you have the back of the bench, and everybody kind of has a role. If you see something, say something. With Scotty Brooks, I've been blessed. The work for Scotty, what he's done for me, and Tommy Shepard has been. Me and my family and I can never ever repay them because of the trust and the amount of ability and amount of growth that they've allowed me. I want to back up because you talked about Kelly Oubre, Otto Porter. Well, great young men. They were willing, Taylor, like you, to listen. And I pride myself on being prepared. I pride myself, with Coach Freeze. How did Coach Freeze want Taylor to play? How did she want Alyssa Thomas, Brittany Mosley? Then our job as coaches is to come up with a plan and work on that. And it might not be what you want, but this is what the organization, this is what the team needs. It's our job to get you to buy in. We call it the buy-in effect, and then we want you to knock out the noise. Well, the NBA is the same thing. Kelly Oubre got drafted. He wanted to be Brad Beal. He worked out with Drew Hanlon. I'm like, the blueprint is Otto Porter. Otto Porter was the third or fourth option with John Wall, Brad Beal, Markieff Morris, Marcin Gortat, and got paid over $100 million. Mm-hmm. And so because he mastered his role, and he had a, it was a perfect storm. The money was there, and he had shot 43% from three. But John Wall's gotten a lot of people paid, if you look back, like sure. Steve Nash. And so, with this is what I tell people, Taylor. I want to get back to and remind me to get back to last night, the three players from last night. So because I lose my train of thought, I'm getting old. But what people don't, what the people in the know, 90% of the NBA, I've done so many Zoom calls over this coronavirus, is 90%, it's a role-defined league, 85, 90%. The top 10%, the Russ Westbrook, the John Wall, the Brad Beals, the KDs, the Kyries, they get to do whatever they want when they want. The other 90%, so right now with Russ getting a triple-double, Brad getting 32 points, we need, Thomas Bryant, Denny, and Rui tomorrow to play their role. because everybody's going to be focused on Brad. Everybody's going to be focused. So can you do your role? Can you space the floor? Can you defend and can you make open threes? Because Russ is going to be able to create that for everybody else. So if you can't buy into that, you're not going to play, because it is a star-driven league. So with that being said, so one of the biggest things with Kelly Oubre, one of the biggest things with Otto Porter, one of the biggest things with Denny, with Rui last year, is that you find out what their skill set is. I find out, and it's a community effort. I find out how Coach Brooks wants them to play. Then we come up with a plan. How are we going to develop what we need him to do? And then we might have a clone or comparison, and it might be, like with Rui, people think it's crazy, but his game is a lot coming in as a rookie. He's like Kawhi Leonard. Same size, same athleticism, big hands, not the most athletic, but athletic if he has a runway. So don't compare him to the Kawhi Leonard as an MVP. Compare him when he was a rookie, when he was with San Antonio in 2011. So we put these comparisons with the analytics. And so how do they develop him? Same thing. Rui wasn't a great shooter at Gonzaga, more mid-range than three. Well, we developed a way to continue. And really, one of the best things he did was he went from a 62 or 63% free throw shooter at Gonzaga. He shot almost 80% with us. That tells me he's going to be a very good NBA shooter, three-point shooter. So anyway, with that being said, to get back to what I was going to tell you, was last night, 3 former Wizards outscored our bench. They had 38 points themselves. Garrett Temple, Otto Porter, and Thomas Zadaransky. They killed us. Their bench came in. So they had 50 points on the bench. We had 36. Those 3 had 38. But there was a timely three. Everybody said Thomas Zadaransky couldn't shoot. He made 2 threes last night in the fourth quarter. Otto Porter, yada, yada, yada. He had 14 points. So to me, I hated to see it, but I was also, those are 3 dudes that we worked with on a daily basis. Thomas Zadaransky came over from Czech Republic. He was already a pro there. He came over, I want to say 23, 24. He had been a pro since 15. And his biggest thing on his shoulder was he didn't think he could play in the NBA. And then when he had some struggles on and off, but early in the morning, late at night, in the gyms, the guys that I work with, the coaching, on the player development, got with him on a daily basis. I got a big hug from him last night. I got a hug from Otto Porter. Gary Temple, who could run for president of the United States. He's that high quality of a guy. He'd be a GM, an owner, or the player. He'll run the Players Association in the NBA. That's this type of guy is like my guy. And so to me, Taylor, when you called me and I could see that you remember some of the things that we talked about way back in Maryland, that's my legacy. That's and it doesn't even have anything to do with basketball, So I had to go into that. But those 3 guys and Kelly Oubre, I knew Kelly. Kelly had this. Kelly had a heart. Kelly was tough. Kelly didn't care what anybody thought. He didn't care how he dressed. How he was the same dude. He's an artiste, and so I mess with that. I like that. But just like you, Taylor, my job is people say, don't you want to be a head coach? No, I'm good. I like my role. In the NBA, the further up the bench you move, so you go from the back of the bench to the front of the bench, the further away from the court. But not some organizations are like, I don't want to leave the court. I can't wait to be in the gym tomorrow. We're not going to do much anyway because we play at 5. But I look forward to that more than anything else because that's my classroom. That's when I get to maybe impact and help a Troy Brown, to maybe help a Jerome Robinson, to maybe help a Denny. We got the kid, Cassius Winston, the second-round pick that we got from Michigan State. Get to know him and feel, and so if I can help those guys continue to learn how to be professional in their daily habits, then we've done a good job. And hopefully that will lead to wins because we did it with Thomas Zadaransky and OP and it bit us in the ass, and Gary Temple because they beat us last night. And those 3 guys had, and obviously when you come back and play your team that got off of you, you're going to try to take it to another level.
All right. Yeah, that's funny. I was going to ask you what was your goal? Like, what is your goal out of this? And you say you don't want to be a head coach. So you truly feel like this is like you're living your dream. This is what you want to continue to do.
Taylor, I don't want to say never be a head coach because Scotty Brooks makes a lot of money. You got $35 million, and he's earned every penny. He's and that it's not that I don't want to, but this is something I tell people all the time because a lot of young people, they and especially men. What I liked about coaching women was they didn't have a false bravado. They didn't. A lot of guys, and once you get to know them, they're as insecure as anybody you're ever going to meet, even in the NBA. I mean, it's amazing. It is amazing. And I give you this, what I know, but I also know what I don't, and I'm okay with that. Not that I'm okay with I don't know something, but I know what I'm good at, and I've done it long enough. I'm in an organization, Taylor, that allows me to grow. Each year, Scotty's giving me more responsibility. Each year we've become closer, and we talk about life. Scotty Brooks, don't look at his wins and losses. One of his biggest, and we were riding the bike, we work out in the morning, and Russ walks in. One of his biggest, you could see it because he doesn't brag. This guy's been in the NBA over 30 years. And he's like, seeing how Russ carries himself. Well, Russ's first 7 years in the league was with him in OKC. And so, in the way Russ talks and the way he goes over, you can see Scotty, because it's everything that it's not rocket science. You have to come in, you have to work hard every day, you have to compete at a high level. And if you do those things on a consistent basis, you're going to be successful. And who does it better? Who would you rather have on your team, Taylor, when we have to go play in empty gyms, than Russell Westbrook? Because who brings it every single night, regardless of who he's playing against?
Right.
Think about that. And so John's the same way, but it just wasn't, things happen, business is business, but who would you want on your team? That doesn't matter who's in the crowd. Think about it. You've seen him. Have you been to a game up close and personal when he plays?
Oh yeah, I love his energy.
But a lot of people, and so I'm watching it, and he's intense. Like, here come tomorrow, we play at 5. He'll be on the court tomorrow at 1:30, same routine. And if you want to correct something with him, you do it today or tonight. During the game, he wants to be by himself on the court, the same high rebound, Pack works him out. Jarrell, just 2 guys, and that's it. Nobody else can help because he doesn't want no distractions. And it's like, but that's greatness. The same routine. He eats the same thing. And maybe it might be whatever you think, but he's a 9-time All-Star, 9-time, 9-time All-Star, 9-time All-NBA, and MVP. And so to me, I always tell people, success leaves footprints. You've heard that, right?
Yeah.
So does failure. And so you can, and I'm not saying he has it, but also I think you tend to, when you was a player, you tend to learn more about who you are, what your team's about, through times and trials and tribulations, and through losses, more so than the winning. Winning covers it up. You know what I mean? And so anyway, but with that being said, it's like, that's, to me, is like, can I continue to learn daily? Can I continue to make an impact on whoever I come in contact with? And whatever leads me, it leads me that way. And I think that's what I want to be about.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. And so I got 3 questions. We're down to the last 3 questions. I ask every interviewee. So first question, what inspires you to do what you do?
You? No, but because you're willing to listen, and young people, and you ask me, if I lose my job tomorrow, I hope the master takes me back. You know what I mean? Because that was a part of my growth. Same thing with Maryland. I'm not in the NBA without my experience at Washington Lee High School, where I started, Herndon High School, Montrose Christian, DeMatha, University of Maryland. And so I would hope to think that what inspires me is that when I left each one of those places, it was a little bit better than when I found it. And all those places were at such a high level. I'm not tripping to think that I was the reason. No, it was because of Coach Freeze. It was because of Mike Jones. It was because of Stu Vedder, because of Gary Hall. It was because of Bobby Dobson. But when I was there, my mother taught me early on, when you leave a room, leave it a little bit better than you found it. I still, to this day, practice is over at our practice facility. I'm in an NBA facility. They wash our gear. We put it on a loop, yada, yada, yada. I pick up the gym every day. I pick up water bottles. I pick up towels. I put towels. Every day I put the balls on the rack. Everybody's looking around. But I do that every day. Why would I change? Because that's what I've always done. And that's what I want to do. And so, what inspires me is that now I look around, Tony Brown, who is 34 years in the NBA. He played at Arkansas, played in the NBA, played it all over the world, been a coach for 20 years. He's picking up bottles. He's picking up the basketballs. And so to me, if he can do it as a 35-year NBA vet, we all should do it. And it's that simple. Can you make the place that you were in a little bit better than you found it? That's what motivates me daily.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
Simple.
That's good. Yeah. Number two, next question. What is your pet peeve?
Wow. Probably a pet peeve. I mean, I'm not the most patient person, and it's a great line, and I like to talk. I talk very fast, talk very uniquely. That hasn't changed.
Yeah.
And there's a great line, Taylor, and I'm gonna give it to you. I forgot where I stole it. Listen to listen, not listen to listen, not to respond. Listen to listen, not to respond. And what we do is a lot of times when you listen to somebody, you're ready to respond and give them, especially guys. If you get around a bunch of guys, a bunch of men, and it's usually no matter what they're talking about, whoever's the loudest thinks that they're right. They're right. That's who I grew up, the people I grew up with, how I grew up. Whoever was the loudest and said it with the hands and, like this, right or wrong. I mean, you've seen that.
Yeah.
And so to me, it's like I've really tried to, when I'm talking to somebody, listen to listen, not to respond. And it really makes me calm myself down because I get so excited like this. I've been up since 6 o'clock this morning, was in the gym.
Yeah.
Now I'm talking to you, but it's an opportunity, but it's also like, I want to learn from you, Taylor. I want to be able to glean something. I've got my notes. I got my pad and I always do it. I write stuff down. I've never changed, but listen to listen, not to respond. And so my pet peeve is I've got to, that's on me, is that I've got to allow people to give me what they're thinking and be patient with it, because how you deliver it is different than how I deliver it, but doesn't make it right or wrong, but it's that uniqueness. Now, quick story, if you got time.
Yeah.
The NBA is different than college. In college, when you were at George Mason, the whole day was planned out. You got up, probably went to breakfast table, you went to class. You got out of class, you probably made, you being a smart young lady, you didn't have study hall. The dudes I did, not Maryland, but the guys always had to go to study hall. And then you had training, and you had practice. Then you had training table. Then at college, then you'd have study hall or whatever have you, your studies, and then you go to bed. Well, guys would come back for shots. You had a routine.
Right.
And so the NBA, the routine has changed with the COVID. It's changed every day. So in college, I might be able to say, Taylor, well, between 1 and 2, come see me. I want to sit down and talk to you. We have an hour to talk. Well, Taylor, I'm gonna come meet you let's go over to the rec center, whatever it is, not the rec center, but where the guys eat in college, the cafeteria, whatever it might be, or the dining hall, and let's meet out of the office and talk. Well, the NBA, that's not happening. Guys come in, they get their work done, they leave. But when I got 10 minutes, maybe I get to the airport tomorrow and I'm walking on the tarmac to the plane, I'm walking with Brad. I got 5 minutes to hit it. Maybe when we're walking from the court, from the shoot around tomorrow at 2 o'clock, I'm walking to the court to be there, for 2 o'clock, I might get Russ. Or, more importantly, he might get me. I might learn something because Russ is already waiting on us there. I'm there. I'm actually at 1:30 for him, and then he'll go in. I'm sitting there waiting at 1:45. But so you have to take your opportunity to get guys when they're willing to talk. You know what I mean? And it could be in the weight room. It could be while I'm sitting there doing film, in on the court. But being able to take that opportunity and maybe make an impact or listen to find out what's going on in that young man's life. You know what I mean, or a young woman's life. And that's in college, you have more time to do that. In the NBA now, they've got their branding, they've got their community service, they've got their families, and they've got the game, and so there's so much going on. They're their own, basically corporation. And so where does my voice fit, and how can I impact them, and are they willing to allow me to impact them? You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I definitely can relate to that. In college, I had time to get lunch with my coaches, just sit and talk about how my week was going and everything. That's very interesting. You say you only have 5 minutes to.
But sometimes we're in one of my favorite places is in Milwaukee. It's a great Italian spot. Well, I said, Rue, you got any dinner plans for the night? Because check this out, we fly into a city. So let's say that we were playing in Chicago tomorrow. We'd have flew out today at 1:30. We say, get out there. So we meet at the airport at 1:30, practice before, meet at Dulles. We don't go through, it's a private plane, it's Delta. We park, walk right on, David Atkins, get on a plane. We get to Chicago, we land. 2 buses are waiting for us. Coaches, players. Now we have 4 because of protocol. Now there's no more than 12 people on a bus. Crazy. So we get on the bus. We get to the hotel. Usually you don't touch your luggage. Once you get to the hotel, I don't see those guys till the next day. And so there's no team. I mean, every now and then you do a team dinner. San Antonio does that. The guys might go out. Russ Westbrook, Brad Beal. You know what they did in New York when we went to Brooklyn for a preseason game? Took Denny and Cassius out to dinner. Brad and Russ. That's leadership. They took them out. They sat down and ate, and they broke bread. With us, I want them to have their own time because I don't want to smother them. But rookies, I talk to the rookies on our first road trip most of the time and give them hopefully some wisdom because I've seen young guys make it, and I've seen guys not make it. And my job as a coach, as a mentor, is to give you, okay, this is what we think you need to do. Now you make the choice. And if you make it, you can say thank you. If you don't, it's on you. It's whatever it is. But like in Milwaukee, Rui, you got dinner plans tonight? No, let's go get some dinner. So I took him to dinner. And so I'm in Utah, I took Mo to dinner, Mo Wagner. So it's at times you figure it out, but I want them, a lot of times they kind of get away, do their own thing. But at the end of the day, Taylor, I'm gonna give you another one. I stole this from Coach K, yeah. Coach Krzyzewski. And I might have told you this when I recruited you. How do you spell love? If you don't remember it.
You gotta remind me.
Well, tell me how you would spell love.
L-O-V-E.
No, most of the time you spell love T-I-M-E because the amount of time I'm going to spend with you is going to show you on a daily basis the love I have for you. And it's a play on words, but we spend so much time with these guys. I spent so much time at the University of Maryland with them is that I felt that they saw me, they saw the good, the bad, whatever. But they saw me on a daily basis, try to get them better. So now I feel like I can say anything to them. In the NBA, it's a little bit different. You coach at the player's consent. What does that mean? That means they're their own corporation. And the great ones, you don't coach the great ones. You tell them the truth. Doc Rivers said that. Good players want to be coached. Great players need to be told the truth. And that's the balance because a lot of times with guys in the league, they want to be told the truth when it's convenient for them. You know what I mean? It is what it is. And so I'm giving you a lot of intel, but yeah. At the end of the day, guys know that when you come to the workout, when you come to the gym, you're going to speak, even over in Southeast, in our practice facility. You walk in the gym, I'm speaking, and it's the first time in 6 years that Russ speaks first. Never had a player do it first. And I call guys out. So it's nice that he's doing what I believe is right on a daily basis. So, but anyway, so sorry to go on and on.
No, thank you. I like that. Great players to be told the truth.
No, good players want to be. This is Doc Rivers. Good players want to be coached. Great players want to be told the truth. And when I was growing up, you look at Phil Jackson, you look at Pat Riley, and you think they got the best players. Easy to coach them. Shit, it's harder to coach those egos. It's harder to coach those players. It's tougher. And being in the league and even at Maryland with Coach Freeze, she's amazing because she can assemble all this talent. And you're going to have people that don't like it and they move on. And it is what it is. But for her to be that successful the last 15, 20 years is amazing. Year in and year out. And she's one of the best I've ever been around. First off, her work ethic. Second off, her ability to be able to get a group to work together. Mm-hmm. And that's coaching. I don't care what line of work you're in. Fortunately for me, it's basketball. But if we don't work well together, if I hadn't married the woman I married and the way she's taking care of my 2 daughters and taking care of my house, I couldn't have done what I've done. I couldn't. And so I have the utmost respect and I'm so much appreciative for her because she held things down. She runs the house. I got no problem telling people, no problem. Because she did it when I was out with everybody else's kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so you have to have a partnership. You have to have an understanding of that, and you have to be able to work together. Definitely.
Yeah. I like that. Speaking of great players, I want to ask you this question. This year, it's definitely sad for everybody seeing Kobe Bryant, pass away. And I know it didn't just affect, people, Laker fans and stuff like that. You're just being in the NBA and, being around players and coaches. Can you just talk to me about the impact and like how that really just, affected everybody this year, 2020?
I'm going to tell you where I was. as my parents and probably your parents or your grandparents would tell you where they were when John F. Kennedy or Martin Luther King. Not to compare those, obviously those were world leaders. I knew where I was when Lenny Bias died. I remember distinctively the afternoon in June, because he had that much. I played against him in high school, and what he was going to be, and he was one of my, in my era, so to speak. I was nearly not as good as him, but I have a picture of me playing when I was at Flint Hill. He was at Northwestern. Well, I'm saying that because I know where I was. It was a Sunday afternoon. I was with a young man named Isaiah Thomas and a young lady named Christy Tolliver. We took Ubers in every city we went to. Isaiah had to be on the court like Russ. So we played at 7. He wanted to be on the court 3 hours before. So at 3:30, 3:15, we're leaving the Four Seasons in Atlanta. We get in the Uber. I'm in the front seat where I always sat. We stopped by Starbucks because we always get in the same routine. I'm in the front seat. Isaiah's behind me. KT's all the way in the back. And I had 2 other my guys that helped me up there. We're on the way over to the arena. So we get to Phillips, I think it's called, in Atlanta. We pull up to the back door, the entrance. And Isaiah said, and he cursed. He said, "You won't, there's no way, no way." And Isaiah was very close with Kobe. Christy Tolliver, that was her favorite all-time player, and she played with the Sparks. So we're like shocked. It's like, no way. This is TMZ. This can't be happening. So we got a job to do. So we go in. Isaiah comes on the court. He does the same routine. We do it. We finish. It only takes 10 minutes, 15 minutes for his routine, if that. KT comes out and she's in tears. And she said Gia was with him. And then it hit because you're like, yo, this is not just, and then I think there was 7 others on there in the helicopter. And we got a game. What are we going to do? The NBA, are we going to play? We're not going to play. And then we go into the locker room. So I kind of, all the coaches work the guys out. I kind of oversee it. And to orchestrate, everybody gets 15 minutes. It's like, that's like I'm on time. It's like, and guys had a routine. We don't want the ball boys messed up. I mean, this is them getting ready for a game. Now Brad's coming out. Actually, he didn't even come out. John wasn't with us. Guys come out, do their routine, and it's a buzz in the whole arena. You got, Trey is at the other end, and the Atlanta players, the coaches, we're talking about it at half court. I'm talking with, and so we go back in the locker room, and you can see he was in tears. And so we come together. We're supposed to play a game, and we got our asses killed that night. I think Trey gave us like 40, Trey Young. And but anyway, so he's in the locker room, and you got to remember, Scotty Brooks is 50. I mean, he lives basically. Kobe lives like in Huntington Beach. They live not far from each other. And so he said, "Does anybody have anything they want to say?" And you got Robert Pack, who's been in the NBA 13 years, but coached for the last 10 years. Tony Brown has been in the NBA. So they're an NBA family. And so it was crazy, Taylor, because then so Scotty gets up, and everybody's just stunned. It's like it hits you. And Scotty, I'm going to tell y'all a story. And so Scotty goes into a story when he coached the All-Star game in New Orleans and how they're playing the game. And the game is almost over. He knows Kobe's got a jet, a private plane, because he only has a couple of days off. He's flying back. Him and his wife are flying back to LA because he wants to get back and take his kids to school the next morning. Not staying overnight after the game.
Right.
This guy says, "Can I get a ride?" Sure. So he hops on the plane. So now Scotty is flying. They're doing it's cross country. They're flying. He's like, "Oh, what am I going to do? I don't have anybody. We're going to land like at 4:00 in the morning. He doesn't have anybody that's going to take him home. He didn't want to call anybody. It's, late at night, yada, yada, yada." Kobe had already set it up. They land. Kobe has a driver take him home. He has a call waiting on Coach to take him to his house. Just to understand, to me, it's like, that's who this dude was. I mean, he was the fiercest competitor ever, but he made sure Scotty was going to get home so he could see his family, and he set all that up. And to me, it's like, it just, in the way Scotty broke down, and Scotty's youngest daughter, Lexi, is the same age as his oldest daughter. They actually went to the same school together. His oldest, I can't remember her name, but so I mean there was some familiarity. So when that happened, and then to see KT, she really struggled with it, Christy, because she met him a couple of times, but her whole game, her pivot series, her mid post series, the half spin to a fadeaway jumper off the right block, she stole that from Kobe. We all stole moves from Kobe.
Right.
And so I can kind of put things away, but to see what she went through, to see what IT went through, because IT had met him, he had talked to her, Kobe had called him when his sister had passed 2 years earlier. So when guys start telling you stories, you're like, for your generation, I mean, he's like the Michael Jordan, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I don't know if I'm sorry to go on, but it was. So I remember exactly how it went. And what Isaiah said, and that's something that we talked about actually about a month ago. So I stay in contact. He's one of my favorite people of all time, and just it's very, very sad. And I think he was getting ready, with his daughter, but with women's basketball, he was going to help take it to a whole nother level, and to turn this to a positive thing. Um, Watching you grow and develop, being a part of Maryland, Coach Freeze allowing me to be there. I was open to another brand of basketball, probably better than men's because it's more pure. It's played at a more fundamental space. And to see what he was getting ready to do, because I had already experienced the best of the best in women's basketball. I've already experienced the Final Four. I've already been around a program where we were playing Connecticut, Notre Dame, Louisville, Tennessee, the best, and to me, basketball, great line. Basketball is gender-free and colorblind. Basketball is gender-free and colorblind. And to me, to be a part of that and be able to share this with you tonight is pretty cool because, I'm not bragging but I think some of my experiences, if they can help somebody, I'm cool with that. And the thing is, I guess what you asked about Kobe, but to see how it affected IT, how it affected Christy, it was tough because you want to take their pain away. But I never met him. I mean, shoot, he gave us 36 his last game at the Wizards. It was a back-to-back. He came from Philly the night before, and he had like 12. He gave Kelly and OP. He gave it to him. And if you go back and look at it, I want to say Taylor, 34-36, and the whole crowd is in freaking purple and gold. You know how it is sometimes at the Capital One. And it was almost like, you almost became a fan because you knew you were watching something spectacular, and at the end of the day, I'm a fan too. I love the game, but they kicked our ass that night, and it was like, because you could see Kelly. KO might have been his first or second year, and I showed him film what he's going to do, but now he's guarding his idol. He's guarding the guy. So sad day. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I was just like starstruck. Like it didn't really hit me honestly until like I wasn't sad. It really didn't hit me till I found out his daughter passed away too. Cause I didn't believe it at first when I heard it was just Kobe, and then like you said, when I heard about everybody else, the rest of the families, it's kind of speechless, So
it's also when that happens, because Gia was just starting her life. Yeah. Kobe too. Kobe was in his 40s, and then like you asked about the COVID. I mean, sometimes you got to take a step back and realize where you are, realize what you have, and the blessings that you have, and let people know that. And it's we all do it when somebody passes, or we all do it, when something bad happens. But it's important. It's important that people know you care about them. It's important that somebody's made an impact in your life, and you've been around great people. You've been great mentors. Your family's done a great job with you. I'm not trying to say that, but it's cool because, it's been what, 10 years, 8 years, something, and to see where you are right now was pretty cool because you had that work ethic. You had that understanding. You were a lifetime learner, and keep doing it. And you talking to people and impacting people, that's your legacy. And I don't care what line of work people are in or what people do, help make it a little bit better. That's it.
Yeah. Thank you for being an inspiration and making an impact in my life. Since I was young, 17, so I appreciate that a lot.
How old are you now, young lady?
I'm 27.
Oh, yeah, baby. You haven't even got there yet.
Yeah. I know I still look young, but I appreciate your time and everything. I really do.
My pleasure.
Yeah. So no, we'll have to do this again. Have an update.
Well, you have my number. So now once COVID, hopefully we get a few wins. If not, I might become and be a co-host. But the reality of the NBA, you get hired, you get fired. But you have my number, and so once things get, and Scotty's the best with You come in, watch a practice, and you'll be able to come in and see that and get to a game, because it's not much different than what you've done, but it is the best of the best of the best. So it's pretty cool to be up close and personal and watch.
Yeah, no, that'd be great. That'd be great. I love that.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so we'll be in touch. And,
okay. Thanks, Taylor.
Yeah.